Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for May 6th through 13th, 2024. Well, we have been feeling Mercury now is turned direct as of the 26th of April. And yesterday, Mercury crossed over the eclipse point at 19 degrees Aries. So Mercury retrograde made 3 passes over where that total solar eclipse was on April 8th. And we're still in the energy of it. And so, but now on the third time's the charm. And now Mercury is going on its third pass over Chiron, third and final conjunction with Chiron. Now this eclipse was conjunct Chiron at 19 degrees Aries, exactly where Chiron is in the US birth chart. And so now Chiron has moved to 20 and now to 21 tomorrow. And that will, so Mercury won't catch back up to Chiron until 21 degrees. They'll be together at 20 just as they go to 21. And so it's really powerful that Mercury made 2 passes over Chiron at 19 degrees and now the third and final at 2021. Okay, because with 19 in numerology, you've got a 9 and a 1, and that makes 10 or 1. It's like the ending and the beginning. And then 20 is 2, a collaboration. And then 21 is 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, the creative principle. So it's very powerful because it's saying that, telling us exactly what the wounds of Chiron and Aries are about, the creative principle. This is what has been demonized throughout all time, all healing, sexuality. It's the creative energy, which is why we love the mother so much, because that's her whole vibe. And she's regenerative, continually reminding us, inviting us to be in a celebration of gratitude for life. And this is the energy we're feeling with all these planets in Taurus. It's like the mother's garden is being reborn because we're coming up tomorrow. We've got the Taurus New Moon, and that is happening at 18 degrees of Taurus, 2 minutes. And so here we've got some other numbers to examine. 18, 8 and 1 is 9, which is a completion energy. 2 is that collaboration again. And so we're talking, but they're in not too far away from Uranus at 22 degrees Taurus. So these numbers 22, and it happens at 22 minutes after the hour. So 2 and 2 make 4, and that has an energy of a new structure. That's a master builder number. So it's talking about a new world based on new structures, which is everything that is going on right now with this Taurus revolution. Are you feeling it? It's like, whoa, just all the Taurus energy and issues just coming to the foreground. So let's just talk this through, because tomorrow, that new moon, like I said, not too far away from Uranus, the sun and the moon together. So the moon will quickly go right into conjunction with Uranus after the new moon. And then the sun and Uranus won't come together until the 13th. But we're already feeling that conjunction as of this new moon. So that sun coming up to Uranus is so powerful because Uranus, the sun is almost like a related to Uranus, because Uranus has this electricity, vibrational, technological vibe to it, and the sun is clearly electrical or something. And so there's this energy when the sun and Uranus meet. The sun also represents who we think we are. And we're having an overhaul in this, a revolution in who we think we are, because we are not who we've been living our life to be. And this is the deepest grief, the grief that came up with the last lunation. The Scorpio full moon, it was like this massive activation of the eclipse season and all the 2024 astrology, Saturn sextile Jupiter. And then that Scorpio full moon was like all the grief of, on the one hand, letting go of everything of our old life, even if it's not healthy and it's not right. There's still a grief process, but grieving how far away we have been living from our truth, and like, how in the heck am I going to even get back there? Like, how do I even begin? As we realize, as we start to land home as who we really are. And this is the Sun Uranus. It's like, we've there's no more hiding from who we really are or pretending that we're different. Our light is turning on. There's no like dimming it. We used to be able to dim it. This is a lot of what's going on for supernova souls, is getting comfortable with your light, getting comfortable with your energy and your power. Now, this is the energy of the next course coming up, that owning your energetic field. The next installment of this course is personal power. And this is so huge right now, to be in our center, to have confidence, to own our energetic field. In order to be able to claim our field, we've got to get a handle on and permission and make sure no other energies have access to our third chakra or our personal power. And so this is exactly in alignment with the astrology, asking us with all this Aries energy to seal it up, own it up, claim it, like be sovereign, be autonomous in our field. And so, as we've been taught, the deal with our personal power is that we've been taught to fear it. And the Sun Uranus is like, you're freaking powerful, you know. And for so long, we've been programmed because of past life persecution and, community turning against us and stuff, where we just were like, okay, I'm going to manage my light in order to manage the situation. I'll turn it down, make it more comfortable, maybe leak it out over here, offer it up as a blessing, try to make it all cool, And we've kind of had this like codependent situation going on energetically, where we dim our light because we think that's going to be safer for everyone and ourselves, So that's all programming. And here we are in this massive activation of higher frequency vibration. We're just dancing at the edge of our permission for our own power. So that personal power chakra, third chakra installment, that's going to be next Saturday, the May 12th. Yeah. Or 11th, May 11th. Yeah. So watch out for that. And so let's talk about this new moon, because what it's doing is starting this whole snowball of our personal planets in a procession, just one after the other, going over these, making conjunctions with first Uranus and then Jupiter. So this whole time of Jupiter together with Uranus in Taurus, it's been Jupiter kind of chasing Uranus, like Jupiter moves fast, only stays about a year in a sign, and Uranus stays like 7 or 8 years in a sign. And so it's like catching up, So we had this whole year of Jupiter and Taurus, but Jupiter not ever getting to be with Uranus. And then that happened in April on the heels of that eclipse. But that's like, whoa, okay, Jupiter, Uranus together, because Jupiter's expansive like a crystal. It's like, okay, we're supercharging the crystals. And it turns out they've got some like crazy records in their memories, and like some disclosure, some true history, maybe some healing powers. We're back to the creative forces and how everything has worked against that. So in order for us to move forward is in this evolution, we've got to claim back our access, our creation forces. Our creation forces are, and higher technologies in our brain, our ability to see with pictures and co-create and manifest, that's been hijacked to create the world they want, And so we've got to take back and contain our energy and our force. And that's exactly the message of Aries. So for this new moon, we've got that Chiron in exact conjunction to Mercury for the third and final time at 20 to 21. Kind of makes me think of like, I don't know, it's almost like a dimensional shift the way they're moving together. And because it is like we've had this massive activation, but Mercury's been retrograde. So we haven't we've still got that feeling that we're like waiting at the gate to get somewhere, to be let out, of the gate. And this final Mercury Chiron conjunction on the 8th is showing us exactly the deeper wounds of why and how we've been stuck behind the gate, I guess. At the same time, we're coming on this massive activation of the Sun Uranus, of like, who do you think you are? So the Sun and Uranus will stay in conjunction close that we feel it, from the 10th to the 17th. So it's like quite a full week of that energy. And so it's that kind of like, is our light just going to turn on? Because when Jupiter and Uranus came together in the sky, it's like it's a big thing. But we don't feel those big things with the slower moving planets until the personal planets, because those are our day-to-day planets. So they kind of need to translate for us what in the heck's going on out there. And so that's what's happening for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, really, because Mercury Jupiter comes off on, I wrote down wrong. Let's see. Oh, I wrote it down there wrong too. Okay, so it's on the 5th of June. So I think it just lasts a couple more days after that. So that whole first week of June, we're still going to be feeling this activation because these planets are in a procession and they're dancing, because remember Mercury went retrograde and at the end of Aries and went back through Aries, crossed over Venus, like going back to get her. So, and it's interesting because then where he turned direct, he was hanging out with the North Node for like a week and a half. They were so close together. They were like, and the North Node is the way forward and really the only way forward. The North Node has been at 15 degrees this whole time of this whole eclipse season. The North Node will move to 14 degrees on the 13th. Now that's interesting because Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow on the 14th. And so we've got this period of time here of, so just Mercury and Venus, just sorry, I'm just trying to keep train of thought going, but Mercury went back to get Venus, it felt like. Now Venus is moving. So the sun is going over Uranus and Jupiter, because going back to what I was saying, like it was always Jupiter chasing down Uranus. And then in April, they passed and crossed and hung out together for a while. And then now Jupiter's moving along. Jupiter's at 25, going to 26 degrees of Taurus this week. And so they're separating out, but they're still pretty close. And these planets, our personal planets, are coming. And it's interesting that our personal planets aren't meeting up with them while they're together until Jupiter surpassed Uranus. And what's happening is that in the time that they're going over this procession, first the sun, then Mercury, then Venus, then Mercury. And so in the time that they're going over that, Jupiter and Uranus are still a 3 to 4 degrees apart. And so it's like making a leap between because Uranus is like the higher frequency vibration, the potential of the future, higher technology, ancient wisdom. And so, but it's not accessible necessarily because Uranus is above the picture of Uranus, the glyph in astrology is like the head of the person, and then up here's the box. So it's like the Ark of the Covenant or something. It's like what we can't access, but we have this higher wisdom. Jupiter's bringing the future. And so it's like Jupiter's like the new king. And he like leaped over Uranus, and they had this crazy connection. And then they're still close together. And then all of our personal planets parading along just in this nice, gentle order. But it's really interesting, even though Venus goes over these planets from the 18th to the 24th, Mercury does also from like starts after that, around that same time, but Mercury doesn't catch up to Venus. which is really interesting because if Mercury went back to get Venus in this retrograde, then we won't really know what that means until Mercury catches back up to Venus. And get this, they catch back up on the 17th of June at 29 degrees Gemini. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. So this says what this whole eclipse season is about, and this Mercury retrograde and this whole shift, this timeline shift, this moving into the new age, it's all about the voice of the feminine. 29 degrees Gemini, the very end of the sign, and that's where they finally meet back up. And Gemini is about our expression, and there's a bloom of that energy at the end of the sign. So it's just a very beautiful, the song of the goddess sung again in our world, you know, the song of the divine feminine. And are you hearing it? Like, if you really connect right now to nature, it's so alive and so magic. You know, it's Mother Earth's ascension, and we're going with her. That's why we have to come back to her. Like, this ascension, it's like, it sounds like we're going somewhere, but since she's the one ascending, we're actually inhabiting our bodies and her. And there's a field of energy growing as Mother Dragon awakens of this. It's a little easier, a little more palpable to feel the magic regenerative force, those creation forces. They've been trying to squish with everything, like all these towers and lines and all this stuff that we don't even need because we have free energy and this advanced technology that's been withheld from us. So we're ungridding this shit up and we're bringing back that beautiful, loving mother energy. And the earth wants to connect and talk to us as a living field, Gaia. Gaia is all living things on the earth, and that includes us. But we haven't felt a part of Gaia, you know? And our whole life is designed in the structures of society to keep us from that, because every single indigenous culture, you know, from the beginning of time, based their life on reverence for the gifts of the mother and celebrating in a mutual receptive experience with Mother Earth. So, in order for us to turn into a prison planet, they've been farming us and all that, we had to be disconnected from Mother. So this is why we have to get back to Mother in order to make the leap into the new age. And it's something that, it's a very beautiful energy that is, the more you're aware of it, the more it grows, the more you're conscious of it, because you don't have to actually look for it because it's within you. Your whole existence from the beginning of this evolution was with her in the vision of her dream, Mother Earth's dream. And it got off track, and we felt responsible, and we beat ourselves up, and we didn't feel worthy of her love. But we're finding our way back, you know, understanding that we've been victims of severe abuse, traumatized, away from our power and our identity. So, Sun Uranus, no hiding who you are anymore. You know, it worked for a while to kind of just turn it down and blend in, but it's time to shine. So it's powerful that these planets are all taking their turn. And first the sun, so that's our identity with these Uranus and Jupiter. And that's interesting because it begins right at the new moon, you know, so it's the new moon energy, Taurus new moon. And I just feel like it's this rebirth of the garden, you know, of just this energy is just activating. It's like somebody came and cultivated the soil and took the clay and the like all the kind of worn out, used up soil and like amended it and like became alive. Like, this is what's happening to our earth energetically. Now, who's doing the amending? Is that us? I mean, we know that there's all these astrologically the signs. I mean, this astrology is just crazy, insane, beautiful. We have had a whole year last year of square energies. And now we've got sextiles and conjunctions and leaping and lines and processions. And it's like, okay. So now we understand what Mercury Chiron meeting up is about for the final time, because we got to drop the wounded stories if we're going to move into something new and completely different. Because get this, we know that Pluto's at 2 degrees Aquarius. It's been hanging out at 2 degrees Aquarius for a while, but has turned retrograde. And this is starting a cycle going through September is when Mercury will go back into Capricorn, and will be in Capricorn September, October, and November until November 20th, and then move back into Aquarius. So it's a little dip into back into the very end of Capricorn, but the very end of Capricorn is really intense. So it's kind of a big bloom of the authoritarian energies, because Pluto in Capricorn represents the structures that have not been able to die, that need to die, the authority structures. So where you have allowed power outside of yourself, which kind of just what we're all stuck in, and we're freeing ourselves though. And we've been waiting around for structures to change, but the mother's like, it changes first energetically. Till the frickin' soil. And this is the message from her. Yes, we've been separated from her, and we felt that we did wrong. And, we came in as this beautiful a petal of her on the lotus of her dream of new earth. We were there from the beginning of what she wanted to have happen ultimately, right? And we had to go through all this dark shit, but like the dream is there and it lives in our heart. That's our job, is to birth and live and co-create the dream just by living our truth, bringing forward our gifts and skills. So this is a lot of what the Taurus energy is about, this activation over Uranus and Jupiter, making the leap into who we really are. And that involves and requires uncovering the gifts and skills that we have within us and that have been hidden, because the ones we really want to work with that are the most powerful have been the most hidden from past life trauma and targeting around these gifts. And we're uncovering the treasures, That's a big part of this time. And so we've got this major activation to who we are, like a flash of lightning. It's the energy associated with Uranus. Electricity was discovered at the time of Uranus, and it's radical and revolutionary. And so the sun and Uranus coming together is a revolutionary and radical view of who you are, which is really who you are, because you were there from the beginning. So let's go back to that message, because I got distracted. Because you have the picture of this dream, and you've already been with her, in your heart and soul that, just like we said, every indigenous culture is cultivated a love with her and a relationship with her. And you did too. We've seen supernova souls in past lives as tribal leaders, all different tribes and nationalities and countries. And we've been, on some level, part of this earth evolution from the very beginning. And so we have this love, the seed within us, and coming back to this, even though, we went away, because we have this seed within us and this love within us and that original vision, you can see why we took it personally that the earth went so off the rails, and then we didn't feel worthy of her love and connection. And of course, it was manipulated away from us through trauma and all that. But so it's natural to come back, kind of like a wounded, abandoned animal. It's going to take a little bit of time to just take your time, she says. Go ahead and nourish our relationship. But her message for us is that, to you, I will not deny you the full love of what you came for, of what you're, of who you are, really. So it's a really comforting feeling that she loves us so much and we cannot lose that love. And then she can help us learn to love ourselves again so we can stand up in our power and start using our gifts and confidently go out there in the world, you know. But we got to come back to her. And it's so growing so strong in Supernova Soul, this realization like, oh, it's like a brand. It's like, this is everything, the alignment of what we're talking about is everything that's right and good and true. And everything you've always worked for, everything you've always done, been the mother's work, you know, loving and caring and healing and nurturing. It's what we all need. It's what we all want. It's not rocket science, but they certainly made it into that. And so, can we allow ourselves to come back into the fold of her love? And that's a lot of what this time is about. And if you can stop and rest in that energy with this activating time, it is like that twinkling silver bells, ringing, these little activations of these planets making this leap, from Uranus to Jupiter, and kind of like, whoa, boom, is it time to make a leap into the new? And that on that level. And then what we're seeing and what we're being told is that we got to feel worthy. We got to open our heart. We got to like heal enough to let the love back in and feel worthy of the abundance that wants to come to us in Mother's Garden, you know. And we have to face the fact of who we are as advanced souls and stop hiding and stop living lies and stop compensating to the needs or the energies of everyone around us. And this is the energy of holding your power, like the personal power, third chakra. What supernova souls have been doing, because we've been kind of turning down our light, adjusting, always adjusting our energy, because we're so intuitive, if there's a threat, we're going to like manage it the best we can. And it's really important, if you're going to go and be in life right now in public, or just around other people, to really set your course and your energy and your strength. And this is that owning your energetic field course can help with this too, that you do not adjust. So you were demonized, burned at the stake, whatever, for this creation force within you, this energy is like, because the third chakra is our will, our permission to use that force and move it in the world, and grow it and contain it. And so it's a practice. You can kind of feel it out, because a lot of us don't even realize we've been turning down our power or our light, and to imagine that before you go into a situation, you're grounding out, you're owning your space, and you're like, I'm just going to pay attention to this. Like, is it true what she said, that I turned down my energy, like to adjust to different situations when, and what happens if I just leave it on? And there's a fear energy there. They're going to turn on me. They're going to try to come and take it from me, like a predatory energy, they're going to burn me at the stake, all that shit, right? It's all going to come up. And it's like, but the message we've been getting from our recent events, Supernova Souls, is around turning to face the enemy, saying, I'm not going to run from you. It's like Oz behind the curtain. You've been acting like a scary bully, but you have no power over me, And so this is exactly what we're doing with this Chiron and Aries activation that's happening, just like owning our authority, owning our power, taking our energy back, and not adjusting to this world's lower vibration. We cannot harmonize down, but we have been subconsciously. So just feel that out, see how that is. And especially during this activation, the Sun, Uranus, Jupiter will be from starting, we feel it around already, but on the 10th, and then through all the way through the 22nd. So these transits are lasting. I mean, because they're so linked, they're so close together, and the Sun and Mercury and Venus, or Sun, Venus, Mercury are so close together. So it's just like, whoa, 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 whoa. But just going on from there, we've got the Sun, the energy of the Sun, making a leap into the life that fully, truly represents our energetic spiritual truth. We can't hide anymore. We got to go ahead and say yes to making changes in our life that can allow us to live more true to who we really are spiritually, and give ourselves permission for that. A lot of that has to do with the Mercury. As Mercury came to the North Node, as it was turning direct, it spent so long with the North Node, and that was it was almost 3 weeks that Mercury was there with the North Node as it was turning direct. And so that is talking about a new direction forward, or the only way forward. But we haven't talked so much about Mercury then, of course, was opposing the South Node for that whole time. And the South Node in Libra, right smack dab in the middle, 15 degrees. And the South Node in Libra is karmic issues with relationships. So it's these contracts from the past where you were conceding your or giving away your energy or your authority, right? Those are coming up. The monster relationships from the past, all appearing so that we can make sure we've cleared those energies for good. But there's also an energy of what do we need to do to open back up to real love in our life? And how can we heal this? A lot of supernova souls have only had these psychologically twisted kind of relationships with narcissists type thing, because we came here to break these contracts and to take back our power, but then how do you, later in life, like, rewire that whole business, learn how to love again? And the South Node Libra is just kind of really triggering a deep yearning and longing, especially that Scorpio full moon, for our soul group members. Now, this is part of it. Like, you're not living true to who you are. We aren't, it's not your fault. Like, you're not doing anything wrong, but forces have worked against us. We need to be working together. We need to cross our threshold in our own initiation by ourselves. But like the projects we came here to do, we've got to do it together. And it's so much easier to hold the field, the supernova field, which now we know is the mother's love, but it's so much easier with one other person, at least. Then your reality is much more real, two or more. And so we've got to come together. And that's like a lot of this dynamic of like, can I let love in? Could I ever trust again after all these nightmares relationships? And so that's what's going on. Massive trigger, because it says in order to go forward on the North Node, the new direction, we got to resolve those toxic relationship patterns. And in Libra, it's kind of about where we've capitulated our power away, and where we don't feel that maybe, we deserve or know how or know even what it looks like. Actual mutual respectful love. So we're moving into new territory, and we're going to figure it out. So then Venus will be the next after the sun to go over these planets. And then Venus is, of course, our feminine. And she's kind of sandwiched now between the sun and Mercury. And Mercury's going to catch back up, but not till June, at the end of Gemini. And so Venus, this is an activation of her divine feminine, but it's powerful because sandwiched between the sun and Mercury after this powerful retrograde where he went back and got her, and we're healing the wounds of Aries, where we've given away our life and our power and our life force. So it's like she has support to be who she really is, maybe as an intuitive being. Because when we're talking about our feminine, it's not just, we all have it, right? In male or female body. And our relationship to our feminine often includes this persecution piece, because if you're an intuitive soul, supernova soul, then you have this intuition, and then that's what's been targeted and persecuted in past lives often. So our feminine kind of comes along with this, these stories. And we know that she's got to drop all that shit, right? Because we're going back to the mother's garden. So she has a very different role to play, but how does she pull herself out of the poverty consciousness of like begging for crumbs and apologizing for who she is, and stand as the queen, of the fountain of creation force? Because the other message from the mother is that, that she says, like, no one can take away the love I have for you. You have, I will not deny you the full love of what I have for you and what you have and who you are, you know. Um, and can you surrender, she says, to your role of being a conduit for this love? And so we're getting our marching orders, you know, and the feminine is being healed really fast. And so, where our identity crisis is about coming into our feminine, our divine feminine healing, and our true, our identification, our understanding of the feminine, and all of us respect and love and honor of the feminine through this mother goddess worship. That's how we do it. And so then Mercury comes along at the end of the month and makes his conjunctions to these planets. They're going to be a little further out at that time from their conjunction. So Mercury's making the big leap, but he's got a lot of momentum from coming out of that, like a um, slingshot, rubber band coming out of that retrograde. So that tells us something about that time is going to be where we really are coming out of this retrograde. We got some things to kind of work out because Mercury is turning direct, or has turned direct, on the 26th of April, but doesn't come out of retrograde shadow till the 14th of May, and then moves into Taurus on the 16th of May, but then comes right into that square with Pluto. So it's like he's out of the gate, he's moving again, he's in Taurus. He's like, whoo, that was a crazy 3 months in Aries, you know? Um, but then bam, you know, square with Pluto, just turned retrograde. It's like you're not going nowhere fast, you know? So or Mercury's got to kind of work out that square before we feel like we're out of the retrograde season. And then Mercury will come into these conjunctions, you know, because Mercury will be moving fast again, getting going. And so, all the way already at the end of the month, Mercury is coming into these conjunctions. And so then it's very powerful that the Mercury Jupiter conjunctions on the 5th of June. So that's our last of these silver bells, right? But then what happens? Because, like, welcome to 2024 astrology. um, the rebirth of the mother's garden, because on the 2nd of June, and actually we'll start feeling this in the last week of May. What happens after this whole combobulation, this stream of of planets, is that then Venus catches up to the sun, and it's like an initiation for the feminine. And the sun, after they've gone over these, you know, these silver bowls, these activations, who am I, what am I doing, like what's really going on, like, oh, the veil has been, whoa, you know, because it's like they don't want us to know who we are clearly as advanced souls. And then with the fear programming, do we know, do we want to know who we are? Can we handle it? Because we are so much more than what we've been told. So we're dealing with all of this, right? That threshold power place. And so the sun and Venus will catch up on the 2nd of June, and they'll be exactly conjunct through the 2nd to the 5th of June. But we'll feel it all the way through the middle of June and all the way from the last week. So 3 full weeks of the sun, Venus catching back up to the sun. And she's that happens at 11 degrees. This is in Gemini. 12 degrees, 13 degrees, 14 degrees. And so we really are getting this interesting on the ends, you know, coming right after that procession, right? So we have a parade, and then we've got a countdown. And so from the 2nd to the 5th of June, that first week of June, incredibly powerful energies. So it's very it's just going to continue to be incredibly activating and powerful energies for the rest of May. We've got that Mercury square Pluto on the 18th. But not a lot of square energy. It's like saying, yeah, no, work it, create. We've gotten this message, create the avenues. The money's got to come back to us. The money, all they've stolen, the abundance on all levels, we'll call it wealth, um, has got to come back to us. And we've got to create the avenues. And the avenues that the money wants to flow is in the picture of the dream, her dream that you have within you. What's your piece of it? So much of these next couple of weeks is about uncovering those treasures, figuring out who you really are, what's your role in this. And so incredible discovery, and then a beautiful initiation of our divine feminine, our intuitive faculties with the sun, Venus. Now, the other thing that's happening that we're just starting to feel, because Mercury has turned retrograde, still hanging out at 2 degrees. uh, I'm sorry, did I say Mercury? I meant Pluto. Pluto turned retrograde on 3rd of May. And that means that it's going to head back into Capricorn. We talked about that. But it also means that it's coming into sextile, because get this, Neptune is made it all the way to 29, the last degree. It's not going to be till 2026 until Neptune completely moves out of the sign of Pisces. But Neptune moves so slow, and it's like, wow, Neptune made it to 29 degrees Pisces. So we're coming to the end of the rehash and recapitulation of the Piscean age, the blooming and the having to clear all the trauma, but also reclaim those miracles. And so if we're going to look at it like that, and now Pluto going to retrograde means he's going to come into sextile with Neptune, and already is. They're already 3 degrees apart. Neptune's at 29 and Pluto is at 2. So as this whole the dance happens through the rest of 2024, we're going to be feeling this incredibly beautiful and magical sextile with uh, with Pluto and Neptune. And again, they're big players, slow moving planets. So it's like, oh, something's happening out there. And then we'll just see the dance of our personal planets and what this really means. But it's important to know that the peak of this sextile between Pluto and Neptune, which we already are feeling, we need to just take advantage of it right now. But the peak of it is September. And that's actually when Pluto goes back into Capricorn. So it's kind of perfect, right? It's like, because Pluto back in 29 degrees Capricorn, it's like scary bloom of authoritarian energies and the monsters and all that. But Pluto is also sextile Neptune. So that's magic and like reworking our reality, So letting the old structures die. At 29 degrees Capricorn, letting the old structures die. Glorious demolition. We're done with you. All these systems that say they're here to help us and they're actually genociding us, causing us harm. No, we're going to do it the mother's way now. What's your role in the mother's way, in the mother's garden, in the sanctuary, in the picture? What are you offering? What do you want to do? How do you want to share the mother's love and a conduit? Like, what's the best way you think and would be the most fun? And this is our discovery as the planets move over Jupiter and Uranus, uncovering our glorious treasures as the earth uncovers her glorious treasures. She's awakening, and Mother Dragon. So, that's why it's like her energy is increasing in this beautiful field of creative force. And our energy, our life is growing and has to find out where to grow and how to grow and cultivate and amend her garden to get the most out of it, right? Like she's pure magic. And then we have our magic and we're the ones tilling the soil. So what's your way to bring forward and be a conduit of the mother's love? Now, it's not what you thought, because we don't know about these treasures, right? They're deeply hidden within us. And it's not what you think you should do. It's not what everybody thought you would do. None of that. So here we are, blank slate. What are we going to paint on it? And it's like a beautiful discovery coming forward where the canvas paints itself, as this personal planets make this leap into this new reality and the crowning of the king, the crowning of the king, of the queen. And so it's kind of a picture of how Rudolf Steiner talked about when you're working with sculpture, that you want to like connect with the substance, and then you're not going to see what you can make it into. You're going to let it come out what it wants to be. And that's the canvas we're working on right now. That's the mother's way, right? But we can trust in it because it's our way. We know we're in aligned with her. We know 100% we're in alignment with her. And so can we trust the dream? Can we trust that the next step will come? That we don't, because we're in a place of not knowing who we are and being completely separated from our gifts and skills, we might not be able to see it right away or know, but it's coming, and it's not going to look like what we thought. But can we let it? Can we let the canvas bloom? They've taken it all away and made it into zeros and ones. And we have to get back our pictures, our image. This is so important for 2024. It's like setting the whole course of your future life with this sextile to dream your dream. Did you come here to live your dreams? Did you come here to live the mother's dream? Or did you come here to slowly die? We don't have a choice. We got to get on her train, all aboard. And so this is what we're doing. Incredibly powerful times. So thank you so much for being a member. If you're a member of the SuperNova Soul Tribe, it's a great way to support this movement, these concepts, this energy. Thank you so much. Just being a part of it, listening is a beautiful offering. And if you'd like to make an offering another way, there's a link to donate in the information box below. But this membership group is $10 a month for a weekly video update and live chats on the Telegram channel and resources for SuperNova Souls. The $20 a month gets you into the live activations for the full moon and new moon and sharing circles afterwards. So thank you so much for your support and for being with me and for being here and going through all you've gone through to be here right now. It's a glorious future, and we need to step up and own it. This is our message. Like, she said, hey, I want to take care of you. And maybe this is her saying, it's like, I'm not going to withhold the love. I'm not going to withhold the resources and the love, but you have to step up and feel that you deserve it. It's not about earning it anymore. It's about living and breathing in the wealth that we know is the actual wealth, the real worth of the world, which is everything that has to do with the mother's love and the creation force. So thank you so much and I hope to see you at that new moon activation tomorrow. That'll be 10 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow, Tuesday, May 7th. So I hope to see you there. Incredible energies and a brand new start. And do you want to come to this celebration of this rebirth of the mother taking back her garden? Beautiful energy, because this is the activation of this. All this happening in Taurus, Jupiter, Uranus, and it's just this lush, beautiful, cultivated garden. It's, our earth is so amazing. And when we work with that energy, we receive that energy, we give that energy. And this is what we must come back to, that mutually receptive relationship with her. So let that awaken within you. Let her love come back into your heart. Feel her palpably and know you deserve it. And let's get on with it and build back her garden. So thank you so much, SuperNova Souls. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon, maybe tomorrow for that activation or the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.